Hi and welcome. I guess we'll get straight into it. What David Murillo, aka Diamond at Open Hammer Ranch, did was gaslit all of his subscribers when he accused me of being a fugitive and the British police being after me. You know, there was absolutely zero truth in that. And you know me, guys, my name's Gene Beards. If you put my details in the internet, it will take you about 3 seconds to find out where I live. And, you know, as some stalkers have done in the past, gone through, you know, all the open records that they can find and discover all the businesses that I've owned in a split second. So when David Murillo comes out and says that the British police are looking for me is a big joke, and more than that, he is gaslighting all of his subscribers in expecting them to believe that, because it's an insult on the British police, the British intelligence, that if I was a fugitive and there was a need for me to come in for questioning for some reason or other, you know, I would happily go in any case, but it's just simply not the truth. But what he wants to do is discredit me. Now, I have been very open for over a decade on my channel. You know, when there has been a need to, I have showed my credentials, you know, my qualifications openly. I have showed the equipment I use openly and answered very honestly any question that has been put. But what he doesn't realise is that he seems to think that I'm attacking him and damaging his business. You know, yes, he has got a business and he uses YouTube as a platform to direct people to his shops and other things of interest that he wants his subscribers to be interested in. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I'm not trying to damage or slur his business in any way or form. But, you know, there is a limit where, you know, it is a below the belt punch. And to gaslight his own subscribers and expect them to believe that the British police force are actively pursuing me is ridiculous. And we need not go any further on this. You know, I think if David Murillo really thinks that I'm damaging his business, and I know that he has lost 75% of his revenue, and in some ways I'm not surprised, because I know on one occasion one of his subscribers, when we was doing podcasts together, had asked David to transfer. He was going to give David some money, and he asked David to transfer money to me, $50 it was. He never did it. He told me about it, but he never sent it me. And you know what, I suppose being British, I never mentioned it again. But I thought, you know, it was a bit sad that, you know, your subscriber had not only give you money, but he'd asked you to send me some money as well that he'd give you, and he failed to do it. I just thought that was really sad. But I didn't pursue it with David. I didn't ask for the money, the $50. I just let him keep it all. But, you know, I'm sure that that person that had offered me that funding would have thought that David had to give it me, but, you know, we shouldn't expect nothing less. As for, you know, David Murillo and the truth, well, I have showed my credentials. You know, I've been an avid scientist, studying science. Even to this day, you know, I do a lot of research. I haven't just got a qualification in natural sciences. I took second level or level 2 in chemistry and physics as well, but decided not to put any of the points towards a final qualification or study anymore, because I felt that I'd got enough under my belt and there was no need to, you know, go any further. I got enough of a foundation to carry on doing what I was doing, and I advanced on that. I took it beyond that by, you know, writing programs. You know, I'm not just mentioning David Murillo. There's a lot of other people out there that have never showed their credentials, that talk about solar physics, like Ben Davison. You know, his qualifications are so far away, or that's the ones that he claims to have, are so far away from solar physics. It's in the Bermuda Triangle, so to speak. So And is the bottom line, it does mention this in the Bible, that in order to find the truth, you've got to refine it like gold. Nobody else is asking these people out there like David Murillo, Ben Davison, and a lot of other people for their credentials, because I'm sure that they would expect that they would have at least minimal in the subjects that they talk, but they don't. Why is that? And there are a few other people I could mention, but I won't. I really won't. That talk about some very laughable things in astronomy and have no credentials, clearly, but talk about a lot of other things as well, and they stay out of the bickering in between other channels. And I only pick on those that come picking a fight with me. And when you pick a fight with me, of course I'm not going to let you push me around. Okay, I'm going to leave that at there, but there's something else I wanted to talk about to you guys, more important than anything else. Something has happened globally in October. I believe it started before October, but the avalanche, started to fall from the mountains in October, and it's to do with the monetary systems globally. I'm going to just say this from my experience, and by the way, my main revenue is not on YouTube, and it's not Patreon. I have other invested interests that I make my daily bread with, but I was raising funds globally in lots of countries. I'm talking about, you name every country in Europe, we was getting a little bit of funding from each of those countries. Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand, even the UK, Ireland, everywhere. And it suddenly stopped in October, or the avalanche had cascaded to the point where all the funding was being shut down. It didn't just happen to me. It's happened, I'm not going to mention the YouTubers, it's happened to a hell of a lot of YouTubers, or anyone with online businesses, anyone with domestic businesses, anyone with high street businesses. It's across the range. But here's the shocking thing, and I want you to pay attention to this. And at the end, I'm going to say something about the American economy, and if you live in America, I'm going to give you just my thoughts on that. But here's the thing, it's happened globally. Now, I used to talk to a friend who said to me, because I was like worrying, I said, well, would you put all your bread in this one basket? He said, you could do, because it's perfectly sound. I said, yeah, but what about if people just suddenly stop funding one day and I was reliant on that money? He said, it will never happen. And he said, the reason why it won't happen is because, let's say one country has a massive problem with their economy and starts to, show deterioration. Well, your funding comes from a global audience, and that will carry you on. You might lose one, but then there's an opportunity down the road to gain another. But at the meantime, you're not losing them all. But what happened in October was and I if you remember me in the videos up to October 2023, I was saying something's going on here, and I thought it was just me. Now I'm aware it's not just me, and I've been doing a little bit of research into what's behind this, and I can probably point a few people in the right direction, and it's going to come from the least likely source, and probably from a company that you've never heard of before. But when you look into their background and then their activities and what they are doing, you will understand that yes, what is taking place globally is possibly coming from companies like this one company. I'll mention it. It's called oh my god, what's the company called? Figure 8. It's based in Seattle, in Silicon Valley, and just you will be shocked at what their business activities are. They contract out to over, I don't know, probably about 300,000, maybe more people, to do the tasks of programming AI. But it's their other activities that's involved in that. But just to give you a bit of background on this company pays some of those contractors 10 cents to do some of the work for them. But they're also mediators on platforms like YouTube, X, maybe not X, because Elon Musk likes truth, but they are paid to sift through millions and millions of videos, as well as give artificial intelligence like a boost, because there's a human that is teaching artificial intelligence, what it looks like like what is a traffic light, how does it look, show us a picture of it. So these human beings have to draw a square around a traffic light. What's a tractor wheel look like? What do human beings look like? And the thing is that they employ on this basis, which they will pay an hourly rate between 10 cents, can you believe it, to $5, or maybe a little bit more. And yet people will actively work for 10 cents. And in that process of that 10 cents, they will mediate other people. I just don't, when I come across Figure 8 in Seattle, in Silicon Valley, I just couldn't understand why anybody would be vastly interested in selling themselves out for 10 cents an hour. But it is happening, guys. Can you believe that? And it's these people that are mediating for YouTube and other platforms. They're moderators. So there you go. We'll leave that there. Look up, right? There is a few investigators that have investigated Figure 8 and their business activities, and the fact that they contract people and don't employ people, because if they employed them, they would never get away with paying them 10 cents an hour. So there's a little bit of research for you to do if you're interested. If you've got nothing to do, look up Figure 8 in Seattle, Silicon Valley. Yes, that's a lighter. I'm lighting my cigarette. I do smoke. Okay, the other thing is this. Right, we know that there's a global problem financially, and that people all over the globe are being hit with this. Now, what is behind this? Are they? I'm going to give a disclaimer, which I don't usually do. Could be a conspiracy, could be theory. Let's just say it's a theory. It's not proven. Are they bringing in the digital currency? Are they going to collapse the markets globally in order to do that? All I can say is October was the start of the grand avalanche of the global collapse. And people, I'm going to get onto this now, people in the United States are going to hit hard than they've ever hit before, because they have the global currency at the moment. And the BRICS nations, let's just say that, are distancing themselves from the dollar. And I just want you to know, if you live in the United States, it doesn't matter what state you live in, that you have a tsunami of dollars coming back to your coastline. And if hyperinflation is affecting us all around the world, then you know that this tsunami is going to be scarily more than even you can imagine. And it's on its way back to you right now. And I'm not surprised that there are panic around the world. Not only are we in a recession, not only did the COVID virus break the back of every nation globally, the mismanagement of that crisis, it goes on and on and on and on. But I want you to realise something, that and I want you also to know, I mean, there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about, right, that you need to know. Not only are there hawks right now with their eyes on your property, hoping that you are not in the understanding of what is going on, and therefore you will not be in a position to maintain that mortgage that you have, or your loans or your debt, and it will foreclose eventually back on your property. They are standing ready with liquid funds to buy up that property when the bank forecloses on you, because the property's going cheap. So you've got a head start with what's about to take place. It's up to you what you do at the moment. But it's going to happen, one way or the other. This is coming. You will not stop now. These BRICS nations sending back your dollars in tolerance of floods. And you know the only outcome of that will be hyperinflation. And when I talk about, the COVID virus breaking the back of every business, it really did. You just look at the office space bust right now, and the banks are underwriting all those loans on those offices that are not bringing in a revenue and are not able to maintain the repayments that they've borrowed against. So the banks are holding a colossal amount of bad debt at the moment. And that's bad for you, because you've got your money in the same banks that have got this colossal debt hanging over them. And we've already seen Silicon Valley Bank go bankrupt. And, we've seen Lehman Brothers go bankrupt in, earlier years. What I'm saying is that, they will, in some respects, try to stack it up like they have done before to one bank, and then collapse the one bank, load it up with all the bad stuff, and then it will collapse, bringing back into a lovely situation for some banks, a fresh start. But this isn't going to happen this time. And you might have been paying attention to the British news this week, and you might have come across that story where sadly those 3 little girls got killed, and they announced the guy's name today. But for a few nights running now, there has been actively riots in the streets, setting fire to police vehicles. I think at one location 30 police officers had to go to hospital. But I don't think it was about just those 3 little girls. This was an outburst of disappointment and bad management by the government as well, for a lot of other reasons. This was just a venting opportunity, and a good reason to vent, because people are upset, not just here in the UK, globally. We've seen the farmer protests, and it's sad. We sadly saw what happened to the truckers' protest in Canada. We have a small amount of people that are hell-bent on waxing their own pockets rich at the expense of even death of children. That's where we are right now. Is an example. We don't sell mugs, we don't sell t-shirts, we don't sell hoodies. We haven't got no online shops that we direct you to. We bring you information. Sometimes that information is, I have to say, even myself, a little eccentric. But it's brought to you with the honest intent of goodness. And if you can't spot that now, there's a good reason for that, and you need to meditate on that. Why is it that you can't see the good from the bad? And I'll leave it on that note. There is a link there if you want to help support us. So like I say, I don't make my revenue on YouTube or any other platform for that matter. I've got my own self now squared away with my revenue and my income, and I'm quite happy. I've still got my Porsche, but nevertheless, I don't mind doing a bit of charity, but don't expect everything to be charity. And I will always look after, first and foremost, the patrons, because they've stayed with me 100%. So you can make a one-off donation on PayPal, absolutely appreciated, or join us on our little family of patrons. Entirely up to you. But there's no mugs for sale, no t-shirts. Sorry, we're not selling a park bench or a barbecue, and we certainly aren't selling night vision goggles or any other thing. I would recommend some of those things. Well, not the park bench or the barbecue, or even the night vision goggles, but I would recommend something like a bow saw, or a wet wood tree saw, so that you can, light a fire in the worst case scenario. But I'd never give you a link to send you off to my store to buy it. That's the difference between me and the majority of them that see YouTube as a platform to wax themselves rich. And that's all I've got to say. You know what? If you don't know good from bad, then that's something you need to put a bit of work into. As always, bye for now.